Send the date to ya. Oh, fuck. Are you going to Old Chicago with Jason them today, Cole?
I wasn't invited.
Really?
Yeah, what's this about Old Chicago?
What's this all about Old Chicago? What a cocksucker. I'm surprised.
I don't get invited to shit anymore. Come on, you know this.
No, I feel you. He just told me about it the other day at work. He said, I think they're just going for the Chiefs-Bengals game, but...
Oh, this is perfect. You can see my jersey number beautifully.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she crispy looking, boys.
Let's go. We are
live.
Oh, miss Kyle.
Back in time. Lane's back after a week on the shelf.
Listen, dude, Donnie and I've spent too much time up in Deadwood within the last week.
I know every snap I see is just, oh, we're up in Deadwood. I was like, homie, it's a Friday night. Don't you work tomorrow?
No, yeah, we literally went up. Well, we went out for dinner Wednesday night. We were out at Sicky's, and I'm off on Thursdays, as you know, Cole. And we were just up last weekend, and I was like, fuck it. I was like, let's go up to Deadwood. He's like, all right, word. Then we didn't get back till 4 a.m. And then we went up again. Was that, Friday night? Didn't get back till 5 a.m.
Brutal.
Oh, dude, I literally got like an hour and a half of sleep before work. Woke up late. That was fun.
Really?
But won some money. It was a goddamn grind, though. It was my first time actually hopping on the blackjack table Friday night.
Oh, that's what
Really?
I always do.
And that was the best thing I'd ever done. Because we were losing our ass in roulette.
Oh, I don't really know roulette, but
Right, well,
I
it's
don't
just,
play it.
it's tough, dude. It's fucking tough. Well, we went to Silverado, too, on the roulette table. Because usually to keep track of the most recent, whatever it's hitting on.
Mm-hmm.
And the machine was broken, so you can't really keep track of the trends.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's difficult. When you're fucking drunk, you're like, oh, shit, what was the last one again? Like,
Well, I watched a guy go to a roulette table in Deadwood and drop, throw $100 down and then hit like $850. And I was like, oh.
dude, you can run it up quick.
I don't want to play roulette.
Yeah, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
I'm cool with winning $20 at a time at a table.
No, the first time Corey, we're always in the trenches, but no,
And go Bengals to Bryce Johnson as well.
No.
Yeah, go Bengals. Go Bengals. I will firmly be on that train. I'm doing a little bit of flip-flopping on the NFC side here because I did say I was supporting the Rams, and then I am rocking a Niner jersey.
Yeah, you are.
Well, ever since Sigmund left, someone had to play the Fairweather fan.
Suspect.
Listen, someone had to play the Fairweather fan, all right? Lane took the whole showing up late thing. I'm taking wearing all the jerseys thing.
All right. I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
I don't want to say that the 49ers are a convincing team, but they are.
It's just so tough, dude.
It's just hard to argue with a motherfucker who doesn't die. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like Batman. Like, at some point, like, Bane has to be like, okay, I'm stronger than Batman, but why does this fucking
ain't going
dude
away.
die? Who are you?
No,
I don't even know who you are.
Jimmy finds a way to win. It's so fucking weird, dude.
It's
Also, we may have to talk about how Aaron Rodgers is slightly overrated, question mark.
Oh, God, you are just wanting to jump right in. Well, we got 7 viewers, all right. Well,
I'm just saying.
Let's start with last week.
All right, hold on. Let's set the table here. Welcome to our viewers here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. It's the Fishing Elephant Morning Show. But, yeah, I guess we're just going to, instead of getting some lukewarm takes, let's go on the hot take bandwagon here because a lot of people are now starting to talk about Rodgers. And, Lane, obviously, I'll kick this back to you because you're the one who brought it up. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are starting to talk. Now, I will say my case here in a moment, but one title, multiple championship and divisional round losses, and at this point, 2 Super Bowl appearances, right? Or no, one Super Bowl appearance. So, is Aaron Rodgers overrated? Chief?
I feel like it's slightly a Peyton Manning situation where regular season, he's always going to be on an MVP type of level. But when you constantly talk about, all right, if we play this game at home, the weather's going to be cold, snow, and then you finally get that game at home multiple times and you can never fucking win it. At what point in time are we going to bring that to light? Because I feel like everyone just kind of looks past that point. he can make to the playoffs, but when's the last time we saw him in a Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
What was it, fucking 2011?
Well, and here's the thing that so Jay Surkar and I are working on a project that we're going to do in the offseason after the season's done. And Lane will probably have you on with this as well, but it's talking about just like quarterbacks overall and what the actual value of a quarterback is. Because I think one thing we can state is the quarterback is the most valuable position, but I think it also leads to it to being overrated. And Tyler, I'm going to kind of kick this to your opinion on this, just because coming from a team who you've seen your team work around the quarterback. So, I mean, what is your thinking on just the value of the quarterback position in the NFL overall? Do you think it's overvalued?
I mean, no, because I think regardless of the how the 49ers are with their like talent situation at quarterback, we know we all have our opinions about Jimmy Garoppolo, but the quarterback position is still probably the most valuable position in football. Whether you're Tom Brady and you're leading your team and using your talent to get 7 Super Bowl rings, teams plural, or whether this is where I hold firm on my position as the quarterback being valuable, is you're the 49ers, and Jimmy Garoppolo might throw for sub 200 yards a game. He might throw 3 picks a game or lose a fumble, but that team loves him. He is the leader.
That's what I was
and he holds that team together. He keeps the motto. It's all about the locker room energy, proven by the 49ers. Is are you a team and you're going out there and showing talent, or are you fast and furious out there with family's more important? It's the quarterback's valuable, and I don't think they're undervalued at all or overvalued. I think they're pretty much right where they belong.
No, I agree. I'm just playing a little bit of just devil's advocate here because
Shocker.
yeah, shocker. Whole playing the heel per usual. No, and I completely agree because coming from a guy who I think my quarterback, personally, with the Raiders is completely shit on. Obviously, here's Homer going off again here. Someone called Marsh to stop me. But no, I mean, when you look at Derek and you talk about like this year, okay, up team passing yards, low touchdowns, a higher amount of picks. But like when you look at what he brought to that locker room and what he brought to the team during uncertainty, and I think honestly, Pat brings the same, honestly, to the Chiefs. I just think it's also overshadowed by the fact that he's the best quarterback in the game.
100%.
But I think when you do look at the Chiefs, I do think they do believe in Patrick. I think he is a leader of that team, and I think that is something that people don't take into account a lot anymore. We talk about drafting young quarterbacks, bringing quarterbacks into the building, trading for quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, how many times and not calling Aaron Rodgers a bad teammate or Deshaun Watson a bad teammate or anything like that, but how many times has that actually influenced the game? And, well, the common fan just doesn't even fucking think about it,
I feel like another thing with Rodgers, too, is I feel like at some point his leadership kind of does have to be questioned.
It does. He's got a
how many times can you fucking make it there and just not... to me, I just feel like it's so overlooked.
Yeah, and now we're in the offseason going to maybe Aaron
Well,
Rodgers.
because how many times are we going to go to the offseason like, all right, this is the Packers year, this is the Packers year. Like, even I fucking thought that at one point this year. You know what I mean? Just because that's what the media
I straight up called Packers-Bills Super Bowl at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Well, and now next year is potentially the 3rd year in a row where, like, let's say Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay for one more year, one final go. Next year's the 3rd year in a row where he's got a bad attitude. He's beefing with the management and
whatever, the front office.
Bad attitude, like he's winning it or he's out, and it's been like that every year. How do you keep a good morale there?
Yeah, and I mean to have the number 1 wide receiver hands down too. Is
right.
Just...
Well, and I think we're talking. Next you might say something about hands down there because I've never seen Devontae Adams play running back to the effectiveness as Debo, but we'll get to that. We will get to that, but honestly, no. When you talk about Aaron Rodgers, he starts to feel like the Dallas Cowboys of quarterbacks. Is that a fair statement? Like not even so much that he's
he won the one like 10
compared
years
to what
ago.
you expect.
He won the one 10 years ago. And now we just constantly think like, all right, this next year, like, it's cute. You're winning the NFC North. You know what I mean?
You have the Bears and the Lions.
I'm
in that
fucking
division.
saying, like, what are you actually
the Lions,
doing?
Matt Stafford left Detroit in the first year he's in the conference championship game. Now, I know he went to, like, the roster that needed a quarterback for that, but still.
Yeah, no.
Like, still.
We all knew, and Stafford's got a fan base from all aspects of the country. We all knew he had talent.
Well, guess what? If Stafford wins today, guess how many NFC championships he has under his belt?
The same
as fucking Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
So let's turn the debate now. Let's go from overrated to underrated because how much has this year shown that Matt Stafford, I think, was shit on his whole career. I think
most
you gave
definitely.
you gave him the buffer of okay, well Calvin Johnson's his receiver. Well, duh. When you're a rookie and you get drafted with the greatest receiver, I'm sorry, yeah, you're gonna put up some numbers, you're gonna make some learning mistakes, you're gonna be a little overconfident, throw some picks, but it's about time to get Matt Stafford his flowers, and I've been saying this for a while. And Lane, I'll kind of kick it over to you, but what have you seen out of LA this year? I think that cements his legacy to people who didn't already know who Matt Stafford was.
I think it just came back to light. You know what I mean? He obviously did his thing in Detroit. Well, I think we all know this too. As a football fan, if you were ever just watching football on a Sunday and the Lions were playing, they were probably usually losing. But if it went to the fourth quarter and it was a one-possession game, you kind of wanted to watch the fucking game because you knew Stafford was going to give them a fighting chance.
Well, homie broke his fucking,
Against the
collarbone
Browns. Against the Browns.
Still threw a tutty.
Yeah.
Went down a game-winning drive. Yeah, he's the definition of grit, in my opinion. The fact that he's stuck in Detroit, obviously one of the worst franchises in the NFL for so long, especially after Calvin left. I think that kind of spoke a lot on his character, though, too, because I feel like there was never a lot of reports coming up about him bitching and moaning. He just went out and played ball.
True.
And I think you got to respect that, and that's huge from that position, though, too, because I think, like we all talked about earlier, I mean, QB is the most valuable position on the team.
Yeah.
So I think everyone that ever played with him, they knew they had a chance to win a football game because of Stafford he was a dog, still is a dog. This year just came to light though. I think it was everything we all kind of expected. High-powered offense. He's now both. I mean, Cooper Kupp and Megatron season, he was the quarterback that provided those yards. So I think that just speaks a lot on who he is. He's a Hall of Famer in my opinion.
I agree, and he's just, as far as Stafford being underrated, it's hard not to be. He never got the attention. He went to Georgia. He wasn't Alabama's quarterback or anything.
Well, and at a time, Georgia was kind of in a historically great program. But, I mean, you look at these programs, they have their lull years. Georgia was in a lull time when Stafford was there.
And Stafford was never an SEC champion. He didn't win a Heisman, didn't win a national championship, got drafted to the NFL, went to the Lions, and obviously the Lions never won anything significant. And now, boom, there he is. And the Rams are a stacked team. They're the super team this year, but it's all defensively. They got OBJ on offense, but OBJ hasn't been relevant since he left New York. So Stafford's got ability, and we're showing it. And I hate to play him right now because I'm obviously rooting against him, but I want that boy to succeed.
That's the thing, though, is there's no one really more deserving, in my opinion. Yeah, he saw a couple playoff games with the Lions, but it was the fucking Lions. It sucks that he lost, but if we're going to hold that against him, I think we need to, once again, come back to Aaron Rodgers here. And I can't get over the fact that I feel like he really is truly overrated, and you can talk about...
Yeah, we got to take Bearden here. Let the boy come at his...
I hope my mom's not in here either, but
she did like the post already. All right,
God
so
bless her.
Mama Bear did like the post already.
Speaking of Mama Bears, I gotta know, as long as we're talking about quarterbacks, Cole, how's your mom on this one? Because since we did this last week, so we'll go fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, let's tag her here.
We're going fuck, marry, kill. Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford. Give me a third quarterback.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, that's
championship. Fuck, marry, kill.
Championship. Fuck, marry, kill. I love it. And hello to you, Alex. I apologize. I meant to reply to your comment.
Also, what is up, Isaiah? You know Isaiah, right, Tyler? Did you ever work with Isaiah?
He was that Longhorn. Yep. I know all the Niners fans.
Yep.
I know all the Niners fans.
Yeah. Red runs deep, all right.
Red runs deep, all right.
Yep.
Sure does.
As you see, I am sprouting it up for you boys. I'm rocking that George Kittle here today.
Yeah, it's gonna be some good football today. I still can't get over last weekend's football games. That was the best weekend of football we will ever witness.
Fantastic.
Every game came down to the last possession or overtime. That was fucking crazy.
And that's kind of been the script for the entire playoffs so far. I mean, you had the Buccaneers and the Eagles
and Chiefs Steelers, but that was projected. We all knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah,
we knew that was gonna happen.
But the games that we all kind of didn't expect to be blowouts were ball games, both rounds.
Bengals, Titans. What you guys, Cowboys, came down to the wire at the end there.
It's been a year. Like I felt
That's cool. Just shade the play that went down to the 4th down on the 1 yard line.
I was gonna say, and then there was that one game.
Yeah, there was that one.
There was that one game.
That's cool. It's cool. I see. You can only take flowers, not give them. It's fine.
Well, listen.
It's fine. It's fine.
I just didn't know if you wanted to talk about it. Okay. I tried leaving it out.
And to have 2 games last week, big deciding games, come down to literally just one final drive, and the Chiefs kick a field goal to go to overtime.
Oh, that
13 seconds. That was the.
Every man everywhere looked at his girl and said, "Don't ever tell me 13 seconds."
Don't ever tell me 13 seconds.
I was so hard of a non-believer in that. I was like you can't give Patrick Mahomes any time. I was like, okay, 13 seconds ain't shit. There's no way. There's no way.
You would think at that point.
Sure as shit, dude. Like, okay, so if 13 seconds is enough time for Patrick Mahomes, then what isn't?
Yeah, no, literally though. At that point, the Bills absolutely blew their coverage.
The Chiefs are now officially the team where they could pretty much do it with one snap. They need one snap.
Exactly. Well, just having Tyreek is such his track speed is unreal. Yes, we are talking about Mr. Aaron Rodgers being overrated.
Also, if we're gonna talk something here about Cheetah, let us note that the NFL has been egregious this year in the use of their taunting penalty as far as just penalizing random players.
That was.
And Tyreek, the person who inspired the rule by throwing up the deuces, threw it up last weekend during a game-saving touchdown.
I feel like the officiating all throughout the playoffs has been so hit or miss.
Subpar. I would say overall just subpar.
There hasn't been any consistency in my opinion. I felt like that for a good majority of that Bills-Chiefs game, I felt like they let quite a bit go, which was fun to watch because you just want to see him play. But then that one was pretty blatant. Like that was the big thing this year, and like you said, he was a big one that kind of inspired that to come to light.
Yeah, so. Like I imagine at the expo or the convention, the seminar that is the NFL officials meeting up to discuss the new rules after they've been ratified by the owners. I imagine the picture that comes up on the slideshow for taunting is Tyreek Hill flashing the deuces. And now I will go on record and state I hate the taunting penalty. I'm glad it didn't get called. It takes away from the game.
100%.
Like, no, exactly.
But as a matter of fact, if we're talking just getting practical here, it was a fucking taunt. It was literally what you made the rule for.
Yep.
That is like the first year after like the Night Train necktie like gets outlawed because of Dick Night Train Lane, and then he's out here just clotheslining motherfuckers, and the rest are like, nah, he's grandfathered in.
Mm-hmm. He's grandfathered. It's gonna be all right.
Nope, the taunting penalty is atrocious.
And I think the football gods just didn't want it to happen though, because think if that penalty got called right there, that touchdown went to happen right there in that second, and that just would have kind of stirred the pot a little bit, and that game probably would have ended differently. So I mean. Obviously, it should have been called, but I'm happy it wasn't called. And I think just that late in the game and that type of game, the officiating's been hit or miss, but it should have been called. I won't argue that one.
So as long as we're talking penalties or officiating, and last week.
I was going to say, can we talk about the Rams-Buccaneers, actually?
Yeah.
Because is that what you're about to bring up?
Yes, I was.
Yep, exactly. Because I know Cowboys fans obviously lost their fucking mind. Stafford hit Cup deep. They go down. They set the ball down to hike it. No official ran up to touch the ball before they hiked it. So that was a big controversy. That was huge. That was massive because obviously that's what just costed Dallas the week before.
Yep, and it sucked to have to see that and know that I just spent the entire previous week talking shit about Dak Prescott for it.
And then it just came to life.
Yeah, no, there it is. Okay.
Wow, and I kind of felt for Dallas fans at that point in time. I'm like, all right, that does fucking suck because that literally was your season right there.
Yep.
So that was a big one. Yeah, that taunting penalty, and then that was those are the big ones from last week, in my opinion.
So here's my proposal for the Super Bowl, boys. All right, we do this like pickup. You call your own fouls, and then we have a live app that goes live. I don't see any bugs or any issues going wrong with this because that never happens in any sort of production.
Never.
But yeah, and then people just live vote on it. So like you call your own penalties. If someone thinks it was a pass interference, cool. You got 10 seconds to vote. Boom, and then America votes on it. And that's
America votes on it.
We just do this democracy, bitches. All right, we have smartphones.
Odell's gonna bitch on every fucking play.
Yeah. No, players are allowed to live tweet the game too. Let's just make this
God.
a social media experience.
Somebody's assigned Chad Johnson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, each team gets one social media representative, but it has to be Chad Johnson and Antonio Brown. You flip
But it has to be. But you got two options.
Whoever calls it correctly, you get Chad Johnson. If you
That's
lose,
funny.
sorry, you get AB.
You get AB.
Because Chad Johnson's gold on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
he really
he's
is.
one of my favorite follows, hands down. Shout out Ocho Cinco.
Another officiating thing, or maybe not so much officiating, I guess, but NFL ruling is let's talk about overtime rules, because that was obviously another big
That
thing
was a
last
big
week.
one.
Whoever won that coin toss was going to win that game. Don't argue it.
Oh, no, easily. Where the defenses were at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Hands down.
But
Hands
my
down.
thing is, when you give up a field goal with 13 seconds to go, that's on you.
It is. It really is.
I'm not saying the rule's not fucked, because obviously I just felt that I was on the other end of it. Was that 3 years ago when we lost to the Patriots in the overtime?
Well, and you guys tried to change it then, like, and for some reason, and also this is another thing I have a thing with. Why are the owners the ones voting on the rules? I get it, they own the teams, but why the fuck are GMs not included? Why are coaches not being at these
Absolutely.
seminars for overtime rules? Because I feel like this has been one of those things that needs to change.
The guys that are suffering the consequences.
Yeah,
of this.
like 100%, dude. Like how many? I've been on this train forever because I hate the NFL's overtime. I hate, I would love to see an NFL game, even if it's a 7 overtime shootout and it's fucking 98 to 96 at the end. You know what I mean? Bro, just adopt college overtime rules. Like your template is literally already there. I think for a good overtime, high school uses it, college uses it. Just do college overtime.
Yep.
Just switch it over.
At least for the playoffs. I mean,
I think at least with the play, I think they should maybe keep it as is. Well, if the team goes down and gets a touchdown on their first drive, I think the opposing team should at least be able to have a chance to match that. I think that's where it should go in the playoffs. I think they should keep it as is, though, through the regular season. Because the thing, though, too, is especially in football and the NFL, this late in the season, you don't really want your guys to be going back and forth for fucking, it could be another hour on end or so.
Right, or
and
at
you
some
got
point-
to think about that at that point in time, though, too, because it's just more of a risk to injury that late in the game.
and at some point you're like thinking,
Is it really that worth it to because then exactly.
do we force them to go for 2, or
There's just I think it gets complicated with the NFL. I think in college you can get away with it, but I think in the NFL, if they adapted those college rules, it would be just a little too much for the playoffs.
No, I get you. Yeah, I think at least for the playoffs, or there needs to be some sort of way because
I think if you get a touchdown, opposing team should be able to match on first possession.
remind me to add this discussion to my opinion article on why college players should get paid.
Yes, those
Yeah.
NILs are coming out big now,
yeah, NIL has been a huge thing this year.
but
and I
it's
love
obviously
seeing
just on a different scale.
Alrighty, boys, let's get down to some. We'll talk coaching hires here, and then we will get down to the actual games. That way we can kind of chill and hang out a little bit
Tammy,
before.
Go Chiefs.
But let's keep it in the division here, Lane. What do you think about Nathaniel Hackett for the Broncos? And also, Mom, I am Team Bengals today, but I respect your opinion. Nonetheless, love you.
I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Yep.
I mean, it's a good hire. Obviously, he's been successful, but he's also had Aaron Rodgers, and I kind of hate that stereotype though too, because people say that about Eric Bieniemy. He's got
You
Patty
just shit on
and
Aaron
Tyreek
Rodgers.
Hill and Travis Kelce. I mean, he's still obviously, like I said, he's like a Peyton Manning in the regular season. He's always going to play on an MVP level, but when it comes to a more relevant game, we're going to find a way to lose it. Anyways, I forgot where the fuck I was going with it.
You're good. One too many morning coffees.
Nathaniel Hackett is a good hire. It's nice that he's an offensive-minded head coach, so I think that'll be something. It'll be a different pace for Denver fans. So.
Especially when they get Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I don't think they're. And obviously, everyone thinks that they're just automatically going to get Rodgers because he was the offensive coordinator. But I think Rodgers might actually end up staying in Green Bay.
I think so too.
I think they're going to tag
Devontae.
Here's the deal, though: is like, how do you restructure that with keeping Rodgers? With
Alex. The
keeping
Jaguars had
Devontae?
one of the best defenses that year too. Though you got to keep that in mind, buddy. Sorry, Cole. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good, fam. Like my thing with I'm impressed by Nathaniel Hackett. He was probably top 3 as far as guys I wanted for the Broncos. Just from a logical perspective, not from a Raiders fan perspective at all. A Raiders fan perspective, I wanted him to hire Dan Quinn so they could keep sucking ass. But I think it's a great hire. Obviously, Alyssa being a huge Broncos fan, like I turned to her and when she told me, and I was like, "Yo, I think you should really, really like this hire." I think Hackett is underrated. I think he's someone who's got a good football mind, and dude, that defense is set. I think that defense is a good defense. You can add a couple more pieces, obviously, as you need to every single year with players going to free agency, but the Broncos each year, they have these like undrafted stars. Like they had a couple linebackers this year pop off. Shelby Harris is still good on that D line. Like Justin Simmons is an amazing free safety. I don't think he gets the fucking kudos that he should, but he got his extension this year. And then finally Patrick Surtain. Like that kid's going to be a revolutionary cornerback. I think he's an amazing slot corner. I think he plays good zone, and he is just an absolute lockdown in man defense. So whether they play him inside, outside, bop him up to the safety a little bit, like he's like a defensive chess piece. So I don't know. I like Nathaniel Hackett. I think it's my favorite hire so far, honestly. Tyler, I mean, we obviously have a couple of other hires. What do you kind of think about that as someone who's gone against him a couple of times?
Gone against who?
Nathaniel Hackett, the Packers
yeah,
OC, or Packers old OC is now the Broncos coach.
I like the Broncos going with an offensive-minded head coach because, like you guys were just talking about with the Broncos defense. The Broncos defense has been like their thing. It's never been anything to mess around with for years now. Even after losing Champ Bailey, even after losing Von Miller, the Broncos defense is still stout. I like to see them take an offensive mindset because lately, since losing Peyton, the Broncos offense has been where they lack. And I joke about them picking up Russell Wilson, but say they do get Russell Wilson, say they do get Aaron Rodgers, or say they get Jimmy Garoppolo if he leaves, like if they get some veteran quarterback, experienced quarterback, talented quarterback, and an offensive-minded head coach, the Broncos could easily go back into contendership. No problem. So I like that hire. I like the hire a lot.
So Devin's in the chat right now. Do you guys think Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver? I know you kind of said Russell Wilson. Are you more on the Aaron Rodgers train?
I think it's cute that, it's attached to Hackett, but you got to think he's literally played with the number one wide receiver for however many years now. To not be able to have that. So I feel like they do stick together one more year. I truly do. I think Green Bay tags Devontae, and I think Rodgers stays for one more year. I don't think he goes to Denver.
And he has a huge, huge fan base.
Honestly, in Green Bay's defense was kind of underrated this year, in my opinion. They didn't show up when they needed to, but I'm just saying that they do have. They do.
I think we can all agree their special teams is the reason they're out of the playoffs.
Well, and that's what I'm saying though. Like that team has potential. We could say it every year like we have for the past 10 years, but
and even with missing Zadarius Smith for most of the year.
Well, and that's the crazy part too. They still kept the number one. They were in the position they wanted to be in.
Well, I think you see a lot of talent go out of that building this year. I think Zadarius or Preston or both leave just because they have big contracts. And if you're sitting here and if you bring back Rodgers and Adams, you pretty much now have to go scorched earth, and you better draft and be picking up undrafted free agents like crazy because, dude, their cap situation is just fucking ugly. Ugly. They're like not as bad as the Saints last year when we had that, salary cap kickback, but still, it's just been ugly.
We all know that's why Sean Payton left.
Oh, this is worth addressing. Is Aaron Rodgers going to pull a Tom Brady and hit up all the teams with the who wants to win a ship? Well,
listen, Dev.
The thing is, Brady had a reputation. Aaron Rodgers having one Super Bowl, one NFC championship, being 0-4 against America's team. Does he have the pull to get that kind of offer?
I think anyone's going to be open to Rodgers unless you're obviously like Kansas City or Buffalo, but it's different because I think Brady's just, he is the GOAT. Like there's literally you can't fucking argue it.
I'd argue it.
With what?
I put it on. I put this on Facebook yesterday. I've said it for years, and I'll say it till I die. If it wasn't for insane injuries to the back, the knee, and the throwing arm, if Joe Montana had a full career, Brady would be playing until he's 50 years old to try to catch that stat line. Drop the microphone.
Montana was a beast. He was different.
Joe Cool is the argument.
That being said, though, too, Tom Brady is the only quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, and that's I think I was gonna sneak this in earlier when we were talking about quarterbacks being valuable. Is Patrick Mahomes in the league for 5 years now. And the stat I saw yesterday was in his first 5 years, he's made 4 AFC championships. Hosted them all to the likes of in Peyton Manning's 18 seasons, he made 5. And like Patrick Mahomes is in discussions with amazing players, Hall of Famers, and he's.
Oh, I think on the trajectory he's going, I think he's the one person I would pick that because you look at Tom Brady now, and obviously in looming of is he actually retired? Is he not? Adam Schefter once again pulling the fucking curtain out. I hated him when he did it with Andrew Luck too. Like when a player retires, that's on them. You let them do it. You do not break that fucking news. And so the fact that Adam Schefter's out here just getting his grubby little fingers in everybody's business, like, I hate that. So I hope Brady comes out and announces his formal retirement. Obviously, I want.
Yeah, that's on someone like on that type of tier level. You don't fuck with that. I feel like that was very disrespectful.
100%. 100%.
That was very, very, very
If you get that information, keep that one close to the chest. Let Tom decide because it's still coming out. Like, is he retired? Is he not? And everybody's like already, putting up the posts and like you see ESPN and Bleacher Report doing all this shit, and it's like.
I hope someone reached out and was like, yeah, you don't ever think about doing that again.
And I think that like if. I assume Brady's going to retire eventually this offseason. I don't think he's going to play another season. But Brady leaving the AFC and going to the Bucs raised extreme competition because now like the AFC is much more competitive than the NFC is. But if Brady actually retires, the Bucs kind of, then what? And with rumors of Russell Wilson leaving the NFC or leaving the Seahawks, I guess, with Aaron Rodgers potentially leaving, I would
shake some shit up.
I would say that's the Brady retiring is the motivation for guys like Aaron Rodgers to stay in Green Bay because
it actually
gives
them an opportunity.
Yeah,
because I'm sure a lot of people saw when they saw that news come out yesterday.
Right,
it's like fucking thank you.
Right,
but then the news came back out that he wasn't. It was just game over. Also, Sigon, a lot of people are starting to wonder that you're actually a Bengals fan, a fake Bengals fan, and not an actual Colts fan. So go ahead and address that.
Say with your chest.
Adams is not trash. I don't know what you're talking about, Devin.
No. Adam Schefter.
Oh,
Adams,
okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
Yes, Adam Schefter needs a fucking good old smack on the bottom because that was out of pocket, not a line. You don't fuck with someone's legacy.
All right,
like
boys,
that.
the caffeine's hitting. You guys are going to run the show for about 5 minutes here. So,
Uh-oh. Caffeine's running.
Yeah, well, right. I trust you. I love you.
No, we love you. Best of luck in the trenches there, bud.
Oh, yeah. You rooting for me? Hold on, I'm going to grab my phone.
Oh, we're rooting for you. Yeah, I saw Tom's dad said he's not retiring. I think he's going to wait until they see what they do with their moves, with their free agents, because they got to figure out Godwin. That's their number one target, obviously.
Yeah, very much.
So I think he's going to wait until they figure out what they do with their free agents. But I also feel like that's going to play a part in said free agents, whether he's going to be there or not.
Yep, there is that.
So it gets tricky as opposed to, I think he retires.
Oh, I think so too. I'm watching kind of the bromance, Brady and Gronk. Is Brady's decision going to influence Gronk, obviously, but is Gronk maybe kind of pushing Brady out? Like,
and there could be that too. Like, hey, we made our run. Like, we're good.
Yeah,
like we're good. No, I think the 49ers are America's team right now, Sigwin.
100%. The latest report from ticket sales companies is right now there's a projected 2.5 to 1 ratio of Niners fans to Rams fans in SoFi today.
No shit.
Yeah, we're talking like that. Over 2/3 of that stadium is red, and I love it. And just for if it helps them to their advantage, what are we going to see in 2 weeks when the Super Bowl's there?
No, I have thought about that. I mean, regardless, LA's going to have that advantage because their fan base is just solely based in that area. Mm-hmm. I think when the ticket sales come up for the Super Bowl, I'm going to be interested to see how they kind of handle that.
Yeah, and the lowest ticket price for the NFC Championship game this week is like $600. So what?
I couldn't imagine sitting fucking birds.
Nosebleed seats for $600. Niners fans are the faithful, and we're gonna see.
No, we saw it too with when the Chargers played the Raiders. There, even the Raiders fans filled that up more than the Chargers fans did.
Yes, they did.
I think it's just Los Angeles fans are kind of not that
Yeah.
I think their fan base is kind of soft for what it is, and it's the most populated area.
Right,
obviously, in the
and it was a
entire
really
fucking
hard
world.
thing for not only the Rams to go there, but also the Chargers there. And the Chargers moved from San Diego, so it's there.
I think they should have never left San Diego.
I don't think so either.
I think that's where they lost actually quite a bit of fans though too. It's like, oh, you're gonna leave San Diego, like, and you've been a staple around that area for so long.
And that's where you get like California's with the cities like San Francisco, San Diego, LA, Sacramento. You get that a lot like New York and the boroughs. You know, there's Queens and the Bronx, and that it's a clique system.
Yep, exactly. Everything's just kind of branched off
Yeah.
by its own little.
So they're
clique, like you
know
said.
they're gonna be petty like that.
No, they are. God, it's still weird just not calling the Raiders the Oakland Raiders. Yeah, now I'm catching on to Las Vegas, and then same thing with the Chargers. I think you just want to say San Diego.
Yep.
So we'll see, though. I don't know if the whole Brady thing's going to be interesting, though. Kind of getting back on that, because I think he's going to step back, look at the roster. I know he's mentioned his family is going to be a big influence in his decision, which rightfully so. He's been in the league for 22 years, so
Brady has been in the NFL longer than 49ers rookie quarterback Trey Lance has been alive.
that's true. I think I just saw that stat actually come up on Twitter or something the other day. That's just crazy though to think about.
It's wild.
I was talking about with my roommate last night. It's just crazy to think like since we've been little, like you know Tom
Everyone
Brady.
knows
I
Tom
think
Brady.
one of the first Super Bowls I watched. Well, the first one I watched was Raiders Buccaneers. That's like the first one I remember. But I think the one after that was the Panthers and Patriots, or was it Rams Patriots? Where he came down to Vinatieri, regardless. But no, we've seen Brady play throughout our whole career, or through his whole career.
Well, and say, if Brady doesn't retire this year, what is he playing for? How likely is it that
Brady still has a shot for another ring.
Well, and it's going to be tricky too, though, because the teams in the NFC, like, they're going to be built around that team, though, too. Because I know Tampa Bay is going to be the one they need to get by, depending on what goes on with Green Bay. I really don't think that many people are like as intimidated by Green Bay. They're just such a weird team. I think he really is. Rodgers is really a lot like Peyton, though. Great in the regular season. You don't want to see him in the regular season, though, but when you see him in the playoffs, you have a chance. You kind of game plan around it.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy to see, though.
Oh, we're in the head coach conversation.
Yeah, we're in head coach conversation. See the Sean Payton talk.
I think Peyton. There's been a lot of talks about him maybe going to Dallas. I think they might ditch McCarthy. I mean, play calling has been highly questionable for quite some time.
Really has.
And just obviously in the Chiefs-Bills game, I know watching Patrick Mahomes throw for the two throws and then the 13 seconds for a field goal. I think Dak's run took longer than those two plays took collectively. So I think everyone saw that and sat back like, oh my God, what the fuck were we thinking? So I think McCarthy is actually kind of seeing himself out the door, to be honest with you. I think Peyton goes down to Dallas. There's been a lot of rumors on that. I think McCarthy shot himself in the foot, though. I think he's seen himself out the door, and I think he needs to stay out of the league, too.
Right. And Peyton had his legacy with Drew Brees, obviously, and Drew retired.
Yep.
Great career to him. But I think if Peyton stays in the league or if he comes back or whatever after a 1-year layoff, 2-year layoff,
He needs a team that's ready.
he wants that guy
Sup,
that he can
bitches?
run a legacy with.
Yep, exactly.
So what team has that?
When they're in just their historic franchise, whether we like to admit it or not. And welcome back, Brother Cole. We're talking about Sean Payton to the Cowboys.
Yep. Actually, I think what happens is we hire Josh McDaniels, fire him after 1 year, and Sean Payton comes back for the Raiders.
Really?
No, but actually, Sean Payton, I think, was the biggest shock so far the offseason. Not so much that a shock that he did it, but you don't believe it happens till it happens. Like, I think he's had some health issues. I think he's what Urban Meyer pretends to be as far as, like, an extremely stressed head coach who probably needs some time off.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer's just a bitch who likes to leave places. But no, I think Peyton comes back in the NFL. I kind of commented on it with Siglin too. I was like, man, I think he comes back. I think he just needs some time off. I think he needs a year or two. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if the Saints maybe just bump Dennis Allen up. Keep the whole entire staff, bring a new DC in, bump Dennis Allen up.
Okay. So think about this. I think the only team he's interviewed with so far is Minnesota, but the Saints still have Taysom Hill. What if they extend Taysom Hill and then that's a Harbaugh situation?
I think Harbaugh's interesting because I think everybody kind of shipped him to the Raiders, and the Raiders have shown like no interest.
I was actually kind of just going to say that too. I feel like there hasn't been a lot of that pot hasn't really been stirred ever since it first came about. I think he actually might end up in Minnesota, though. They're kind of making some good moves in their front office, at least.
They are, and we're gonna go back to this all fucking show long. But if Aaron Rodgers leaves the NFC North,
That's actually open. And
yeah,
they're the actual team. I don't think Fields will be able to win that division next year, or in the next couple. Bears have been making some good moves, too. But I think that's a huge hire.
What do you guys think about Matt Eberflus as far as their head coach hire?
Because he was the defensive coordinator, right, for Colts?
I think he was the OC for the Colts, if I remember right. Siglin, want to jump in on the chat with that one?
I can't remember if he was OC or DC.
So, where's our Colts fanboy?
I think they need... I want to say he was defensive coordinator, and I feel like they should have went offensive coordinator.
4 seasons as the Colts DC.
I think they should have went OC due to the fact that you have Fields, dude. Like, you have a young quarterback. You need it. There we go.
Just a heads up here, boys. We got some breaking news coming in, so I'm going to wait for you guys.
Yeah, and that was...
Gotta invert this. Hold on here.
Yeah, no, that was a huge loss for the Colts, obviously. That was a big loss at DC. Also, your Bud coach. I don't know who Rowe is or your Bud coach is.
That image is backwards, Cole.
I know. I'm trying to figure
Now
it out.
it's-
I'm not good at this. I don't know how to do things well.
Oh, they took your DB coach as well, huh?
Fuck it. But Ted Lasso's going to the Raiders, boys. All right, that's
Ted Lasso. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. About breaking news.
I promise you.
I actually think the number one hire that's not getting talked about right now and that I'm a huge fan of is Brian DeBall.
Flores. Oh, wait, who?
No, Brian DeBall.
Oh, DeBall. Yeah, no, that was a huge one for the Giants.
Yeah, I think honestly, first time I've been confident about a Giants coach in a while. Like, I was never even a Tom Coughlin fan, and he won him 2 fucking Super Bowls. I think that was just players and luck right there. But Brian DeBall coming from the Bills, I think the Bills have an extremely innovative offense. Obviously, Josh Allen has a lot of that, but I think when you take a guy like Daniel Jones...
I still think Danny Jones has potential.
Well, he's a very, very poor man, like homeless man's Josh Allen.
Well, and was it the GM that came out and said he's like, we just haven't, like, we fucked him over basically in these first 4 years. Like, we just haven't built around him.
Flores is going to Vegas with McDaniels.
Yeah,
right?
Flores is not going to Indy, but
Dude,
wherever
we are rating
Flores,
half the Patriots staff with McDaniel. Am I excited about this? Meh. But I do think Josh McDaniels is a good offensive mind. I just don't know how he runs the team because I've heard he's kind of just a dick.
and a
But
cheater.
I think we get a lot of the Patriot staff coming to our team here.
Fair.
He was the one behind all the Spygates and shit. Like,
I don't want to see. I don't want to see the Niners go 2 years in a row losing their DC. But D'Amico Ryans is raising a lot of eyebrows too. And if he was to go somewhere, I like Miami.
D'Amico was a very smart player too, so there's honestly no surprise that he's such a great DC, especially taking over for Saleh, learning underneath him, and in that system, I think D'Amico could surprise somebody as a head coach hire. I don't know if he's in this cycle, but then again, Eric Bieniemy should have had a fucking job 2 years ago. But
yeah.
So the stigma of black head coaches, I think, is still out there, which is
it really
amazing
is.
in a league that is majority black. You don't hire more head coaches like that. Just we're not going to get into a race debate here, but just the fact that black head coaches are just given such a short leash and are not hired often enough is crazy. So I don't think D'Amico or Bieniemy honestly get a job this cycle, just because for some reason I'm still feeling this Bieniemy thing is someone's not going to hire him.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, like, I would gladly take him to Vegas. I'd actually probably take him over McDaniels. And you know what? I don't want Josh McDaniels because of the Broncos thing.
I was going to mention. I've been waiting for you to. I was waiting for you to end your rant there.
Dude,
I wanted to touch base on it.
It's been 12 years. I do think he deserves another shot. I won't be mad.
Do we remember what all happened with that and what transpired with that? Did you hear the background on that? There was recently on Twitter, on the I Am Athlete podcast with Brandon Marshall, Chad Johnson, Channing Crowder, I think is the third one on there. But they had a Broncos player, I think it was 2007, 2008, when they had Kyle Orton, yada, yada, yada. Hired McDaniels as their head coach. They started 7-0, 8-0, or something like that. Then they... 1 week, they think they're getting ready to play the Bengals or some shit. McDaniels basically sent someone in on the staff to go get film, and they ended up getting caught basically cheating, and that's when he left to go back. And I think the Broncos went 2-7 or 2-8 for the rest of the season or some shit. Mm-hmm. So obviously, like you said, it's been 12 years. So I would like to think some things have changed, but I just...
Well, here's the thing with cheating. If you're the Patriots, you merely adopted cheating.
Well, that's what
We
I'm saying.
made
Is
it.
he's been so
Yeah,
attached
like,
to that for
not
so
that I want
long.
to be that team again, but you're not exactly going to a franchise that is squeaky clean on reputation here. Like, we're still hated by the refs. I guess at this point, if we get penalized, at least would be fucking worth it. Like, God, we get so much dumb shit that happens to us. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, let's just embrace the dark side. Let's just go Sith here. Let's just turn heel. Like, let's
Did you
just
see
go back
Nate
to the old
Hobbs got
Raiders. 'Cause
another
guess
DUI?
what? Those Raiders fucking won. All right, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Is the clean Raiders are cool. I love having Derek Carr as our quarterback. But God damn it, if dirty ass Josh McDaniels leads us to a Super Bowl, cool.
It is kind of ironic with the reputation the Raiders have, and then having Derek Carr as a quarterback. It's kind of ironic.
Remember, Siegelin, he also made Tebow into a playoff quarterback too. So I will give Josh McDaniels his flowers.
That is true. Tebow did win that playoff game.
Yeah.
I am in the middle on Josh McDaniels because I think at the end of the day he is one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. And we will talk about that, Siegelin, because that is a Chiefs player.
No, he's no longer a Chiefs player.
I don't, what former Chief? Like I hate how it's like former Las Vegas Raider. I'm like, dog, he plays for the Chiefs now, right? Stop saying that.
Never
shit.
even took a snap. Okay.
Yeah. How about this former
Yeah.
Miami Dolphin practice squad player, Damon Arnett?
Former Ohio State Buckeye. How
Yep.
about that?
Also, hats off. Moment of silence for Demaryius Thomas.
Yes. R.I.P.
Yeah. So
That's a big
that
one.
man.
But Tebow threw that ball, so it's just
Yeah, I mean, here's my deal with McDaniel. Like I said, there's probably a couple hires I do above him. I do like him more than Harbaugh as far as like an offensive mind. I think Harbaugh wins, but I think you have a team right now that honestly doesn't need too much shakeup. We have a lot of players coming back. We have cap space. I think you need a coach who can step in and win, and that's McDaniel.
that's
Honestly.
the thing. When anyone's looking at the AFC West, though, like, you know, wherever you go, like it's gonna be fucking tough. You have
Well,
Herbert, you have Mahomes, you have Derek Carr in that division, and then like Broncos at least have their defense to stand by until they find a quarterback.
Well, even if the Broncos go out and get an elite quarterback, and Derek Carr is the fourth best quarterback in that division,
That says something.
that's
still.
a dangerous fourth best
Yeah.
quarterback. Is the ultimate sleeper who beats quarterbacks like that. Like, and I will openly say he is. Herbert, Mahomes are ahead of him. But, bro, like the AFC West is full of bangers, and it would not surprise me if every team had a winning record next year. If the Broncos go out,
We really almost
get a
saw it this
quarterback.
year.
Yeah,
we really
like-
almost saw it this year.
Yeah, and the NFC West too, like the entire
Yeah,
Western NFL.
Mhm.
It's, I mean, the NFC West, you're kind of
Yeah, and who would have thought the Seahawks would have been the worst ones out of all those
Right.
teams? Like,
it's sort of a flip, I guess. Like AFC West, we're talking about quarterbacks and offenses, and then the NFC West, we're talking
defense. That is true, though. It is a flip.
It is wild.
It is a big flip.
And I mean, you brought up cap space, so I as far as the NFC West goes, I noticed earlier, you know, they built that super team this year, and this offseason they've got Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Deshaun Jackson, and one other player all falling off contract, so they're opening up $39 million in cap space this offseason as well. So
Yes, at that comment to Seguin Cole. I was literally just going to say you can do that with any play in history.
Well, and I think, dude, the cap situation, because we are getting a lot of teams like the Bengals have cap space, the Broncos have cap space, we have cap space. You're getting a lot of teams who are on the cusp, or even playoff teams. Like I said, the Bengals are dangerous. We have to realize the Bengals have space coming in this offseason. They have flexibility. They need offensive line help. But the Niners, you guys are in a position too where Jimmy goes. His contract is 100% tradable. Like, you guys carry zero dead cap money after this year, and that is a $25 million contract that you can get capital back for. Like, let's not sleep on the Niners here. They're in the NFC Championship game, and you guys could be in a shot this offseason to really, honestly, make some fucking moves in a free agent class. It's going to be shocking.
And that's the Niners' deal, and has been since in the Shanahan era, is the Niners go out and they obliterate the competition in the draft. You know, we win lottery pick after lottery pick, and you're seeing it in the years like Nick Bosa, Trey Lance, if he ends up paying off, who knows? Javon Kinlaw, Elijah Mitchell, like Ambry Thomas. Our rookie players show up every year and surprise people. So we win the draft with low-name players, but usually we always have that one veteran that we pick up. A couple years ago, we made that Super Bowl run, and it was Emmanuel Sanders to kind of lead our young offensive core, and we had Richard Sherman on defense. We don't have that this year. Our veterans are like Debo and Kittle, and defensive veterans, you've got Fred Warner. So we're kind of lacking that this year. But if we free up cap space and we can pick up that one or two veteran-minded mindset, there's still danger.
Oh yeah.
There's trouble in paradise. Also, Siglin, that literally was not screen at all. I don't know if you're aware of what game you're talking about.
The Demaryius Thomas Tebow catch. But
That
all right,
was-
we're gonna jump into the games after this. But let me jump in here and say this: it was a 15-yard post route.
That's what I got.
And Tebow hit him.
It's not like Tebow ran for
Yeah.
a 99-yard screen.
Listen, I'm not sitting here calling Tebow a dart thrower, right? But give him kudos on the one accurate
Jesus
pass he threw.
fucking Christ. Has a good throw. No, it was a screenplay.
It's fine. I'll talk all this shit. He's gonna slap me in 2 weeks on the show. So.
This is true. But, yeah, let's get to these games, huh?
All right, so we're going to break down. Tyler, since you are the guest here, we're going to kick it to you right away. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Rams-Niners, Part 3. This is your rivalry. Set the stage for us, buddy.
I know everyone's talking right now that it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. It's hard to get a clean sweep, including the playoffs. The Rams are an amazing team, and they are. And the Niners have flukes, and they do. But I am shutting out all the noise and riding firm that the 49ers have the Rams number. All the stats are there. Like, we're 6-0 against them in the in the past 6 games. We're undefeated against them. Shanahan has McVay's number, and some side funny little stats I've seen. Like, the Rams opened as 3.5-point favorites, and they still are. The odds haven't changed on that game. In games that the Niners are underdogs, Jimmy Garoppolo, games that Jimmy Garoppolo started, he's 13-5. This season, in games that Deebo Samuel gets 6 or more rushing attempts, we're undefeated. And that came about halfway through the season. We started using Deebo like that. Our scheme is just completely different. The let's say X factor of this game is going to be, what are the Rams going to do with their safeties? Because that's where they're weak on defense, and that's what Kyle Shanahan is extremely well at abusing with the little cross routes, the screen plays, the options, and the runs. Play action, we're going to abuse them. As long as we can avoid the pressure, we'll beat them up on the short passes and the runs, as long as we can control the clock away from them. I think as far as the 2 championship games go today, I say one's close and one's not, and the Niners and the Rams game is the one that's not. Niners by at least 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Niners by 10.
All right, what you got to say on that, Chief? What you got to say?
I am big on the Rams. I am big on the Rams in this one, due to the fact I'm just kind of playing reverse role on that, due to the fact that I am one of the believers that it is extremely tough to get a clean sweep on a team, including the playoffs as well. I think both have really good coaching staffs, and I think that's actually what it comes down to, because Shanahan's a hell of a HC, and then same with McVay. And also, creating this little sidebar, crazy to think that Washington had these guys and Matt LaFleur all in their staff at one point in time.
And Robert Griffin III still tore his ACL.
Yeah, I'm saying, bro, that's so crazy.
RIP to that man's career, though, because honestly, he's such a good dude. Like, commentator, I love seeing him on commentary. I love seeing the glow up that RG3 has going on now. Mm-hmm. Like, it seems like he's doing well in life. Because for a couple of years there, bro, it just seemed like he was downtrodden. He was depressed in press conferences. Like,
no, just going from the Heisman winner and being the top pick just to losing it all, basically.
It's nice to see, and OBJ, I'm going to go with the Rams here, too. It's nice to see dudes just smile while they play football again. Like, no matter what they've been through, no matter what your opinion is.
Yeah.
We've all been in a job we hate, and now imagine if you have a media spotlight on you while you are hating that job. Like, no matter what, just as a human being, I gotta empathize with that a little bit and just be like, it's just good to see my dude happy.
It just comes down to mental health, dude. And just
playing, same with RG3. Might not be in the league, but, dude, I feel like he's having a good time.
He found a good path, though, still. Yep. No, exactly. It's crazy to think. I actually got to see him play his final year in college, his Heisman year against Kansas. I was living down in Kansas at the time. I was like 45 minutes away from Lawrence friend I was going to at high school, her family had season ticket, or they had season tickets, or whatever, for the Kansas football team, and we got to watch Baylor. We left in the fourth quarter. Kansas was up like 3 touchdowns. I will always regret this, is what I should say. Baylor came back and won the game. Needless to say, RG3 went off in the fourth, and I just saw it on TV at a local bar instead of in the game, but still got to see him play, which is cool.
That is cool.
But
So
no,
we, hold on here. So we have a comment in the chat here because Siglin said Mike Shanahan might have the most impressive coaching tree of all time. And honestly, like, I'm gonna have to jump into that, and I'll get to your second comment here in a second, Siglin. But just to note that Mike Shanahan is a product of both Dan Reeves for the Broncos head coach and Falcons as well. So you might know Dan Reeves, obviously a lot of success. Rest in peace. He recently passed away. Mm-hmm. But then also George Seifert, who we might remember won the Super Bowl with the Niners with Steve Young, and Shanahan was their OC after getting fired from the Raiders. Mm-hmm. So he had a stop in San Francisco between his stints with the Broncos and the Raiders. But the assistant coaches who have been under Mike Shanahan and become head coaches, all right, get ready for this one. So you have Art Shell, 2-time Raiders head coach, Gary Kubiak, Texans and Broncos, Super Bowl winning head coach, Anthony Lynn for the Chargers, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and Matt LaFleur. Then you also have Carl Durrell, who's a head coach in the college ranks, J.D. Brookert, Greg Robinson, Tim Brewster, Troy Calhoun, who's still the coach at Air Force to this day 15 years later, John Embry, Charlie Jackson, who's been the coach at K-State for the last 2 years, and then John Fish with Arizona. So you got a couple of good coaches there, obviously, underneath the Shanahan coaching tree. I still think the Bill Walsh coaching tree, I would say, is probably the most legendary of all time because, once again, you kind of have Shanahan jump in under that one, being as Bill Walsh was the GM for this team. But I don't know.
Got a good little
obviously, that 2013 team is bringing up a lot, but still, Parcells, too, also. Like, let's argue that Bill Parcells' coaching tree includes Bill Belichick. So
yeah.
On top of upteen other head coaches that, yeah. So, well, Shanahan's good. I think we got to give him some more time. Unfortunately, coaching trees usually don't come out as far as the full picture until the top of that tree is already gone, usually, because Bill Walsh, we're still seeing that on play into the NFL. But, and then what are the odds of those plays were against the Steelers, though? Good. The Steelers deserved comeuppance on that play.
Yeah.
After the fucking immaculate reception. I wasn't even alive for it, but then when I took a deep dive, heat pissed.
Ooh, heat pissed.
But I will go in on, sorry to rabbit
you're...
trail here. I'll kick off on my thing for this game, and I've been going on this. And for the crowd, let me play out a scenario for you boys here, all right? Joe Montana, your quarterback, Tyler. Joe Cool, right? Every generation's had one. We've had Joe Namath calling the Super Bowl. We've had Joe Montana in his run. And I think the Niners go through for this one specific reason.
Our Joe Cool is coming upon us, and that's where we're going to transition to this next game here, and I'm going to talk about it because Joe Burrow is on the other side.
Yes, he is.
And you're talking about storylines. You're talking about how do we write this book that is the scripted NFL? Because, well, it's not scripted, but if you're going to script it, let's script it this way, like some WWE booking. Joe runs through the playoffs, beats the Raiders. All right, game they should have won. They hold out last minute. Then the next weekend, boom, goes out, beats the number 1 seed Titans. Nobody thought that would happen. He gets sacked 9 times during it, still throws for 350 yards.
All right, everybody's on Joe Burrow's dick. He goes out this week in a game no one thinks he can win against the Chiefs. Somehow pulls this shit off. And then you have a rematch in the Super Bowl of Bengals-Niners in what started Joe Montana's Super Bowl career in the Niners beating the Bengals.
Yep.
Reverse the fortunes, Joe Burrow wins the Super Bowl. And the storyline is perfect after Tom Brady retires for Joe Burrow to overtake Patrick Mahomes as the next great quarterback. And now, Chief, that I've riled you up.
Oh, it's comical. No, it's comical.
I know, I love it. I love it. Oh, I love riling you up so much.
I don't know
great,
why.
Going into this next game here, because I'm going to pick the Niners for the first one. But going into the next one, talk some Chiefs for me.
All right, well, yeah, just know I got Rams. I don't fucking get it, dude. Everyone wants to surpass Patty. Like, everyone just wants to overlook him. I think he's just already established himself at that point in the league where he's kind of like, a Tom or a LeBron, where each and every year he's going to put up MVP type of numbers. But as soon as he has a rough game or he does this, people are just going to focus on the negative. I've noticed that a lot this year. Obviously, we had a terrible, terrible start to the year. I was, in a sense, I wasn't pleased with it, but I was kind of happy about it to see him face that adversity and see how they were going to respond, because we saw this with the Patriots plenty of times before. You think you figure them out, and then they go back and they watch their film, and then they figure you out. And it just makes that team so dangerous. And obviously that's something we've done this year.
Siglin's talking some shit in the chat here.
Well, Siglin's talking about his team's watched on the couch. So what time do the Colts play today? I'll go ahead and wait till you respond with that one.
Siglin caught a laugh react.
I will. I'm gonna wait till Siglin.
Rams Cincy. I know he's gonna go with both boys.
What time did the Colts play today, or how'd they do last week? What were the numbers last week? What did Carson Wentz do against the worst team in the league?
Oh, just remember they're playing next week. I think the Colts do have some players in the Pro Bowl.
Oh,
Shout out.
Oh, did they play the Jaguars again next week? The worst team in the league. I didn't hear a time, buddy. That's cute. You guys look forward to the Pro Bowl. We look forward to the Super Bowl. That's the difference, cuh. Talk to me when you get to one. It's been about 10 plus years, huh?
I'm a Raiders fan. I look forward to the draft.
Siglin, that's cute. You guys couldn't beat the Jaguars. I don't think you're understanding that.
3 straight.
Anyways,
I do want to actually say that there was a couple, one really notable snub to me in the Pro Bowl this year, which was former Niner DeForest Buckner. As long as we're talking about the Colts, just saying.
There was a couple surprising snubs, in my opinion, too.
I think the Pro Bowl's a joke.
No, don't apologize. Don't apologize. Siglin's absolutely off his fucking rocker, but we all knew that. Chiefs. Well, you got to think about it. Joey B and the Bengals are very impressive. They're a fun team to watch. No one could deny that. Joe Saisty, he's a real one. But they barely snuck by the Titans last week when Tannehill still turned it over 3 times.
Okay. But
sacks.
buddy, when we're talking about squeaking by, you're lucky enough you have the only man on this earth to make something blast off in 13 seconds. All right, like.
Well,
just
that's the fucking point. Thank you for proving my point.
Yes, but I'm just saying.
I have that.
When does
You don't.
lightning strike twice? When does lightning strike twice? When?
You really think the Bengals are going to beat us by a field goal once more?
All I'm saying is if there is 13 seconds left in this game and the Bengals are up by a field goal, that doesn't happen again. Now, I'm not saying that Joe Burrow is going to go out there and floss on the Chiefs. I'm merely picking the Bengals just to rile your ass up. I do honestly bet on the Chiefs in this game, but...
Think about it. You guys almost beat them. They barely beat you by a field goal. Or was it a touchdown?
It was a touchdown.
Well, thank you. That's my fucking point, though. That's my point. They're not getting impressive wins.
Okay. I will say this, though. Even though there's a bunch of controversy on the officiating, coming from someone who I think I'd have a good judgment on this game, the refs were honestly against the Bengals that entire game.
And the refs were against us, and I never even bitched about it once when they beat us the first time, but the refs were against us. I don't ever bring that up. But I'm just throwing it out there, too. They're winning by field goals, and we think it's very impressive. They've had good wins, obviously, relevant wins, but after just seeing what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs did last week against the Bills, when it's supposed to be the Bills' year, I think a lot of people are looking past that for some reason. Or is it maybe just because that's what we expect out of Patrick at this point? And no one else, no other quarterback has that. But for some reason, Joe's better.
No. I'm not saying Joe's better. I'm rallying you up here. But I will say this, though. Siglin brought up a good point, though. While Patrick is still the greatest quarterback, and I think that's who you hang your hat on to beat this game, I think your guys' key to victory, honestly, if we're going to talk X factors here,
our defense has been huge.
Defense, hands down. I think Matthew coming back off that concussion, it just got reported 5-10 minutes into the show that he is going to play today.
Oh yeah,
Tyrann Mathieu is going to be my X factor for this game, and we'll go back and we'll talk X factors for Rams Niners too. But I think Matthew is going to be my person here because I think your line gets after Joe. I think you guys get sacks, but. Dude, the deep ball.
It's going to come in the passing game.
The deep ball has been it for the Bengals this year, and obviously, free safety. I think that's if you know anything about football and anything about defenses, like your free safety is going to be your hawk there, and especially Steve Spagnuolo loving to run a very zone blitz based scheme. I see Matthew playing center field a lot today, a lot. Especially with Jamar on the outside, you got T. Higgins, CJ.
No, I can promise you, they took it very personal when they absolutely had a fucking heyday against us last time. So that's going to be a big factor of this game. That's huge. Losing Tyrann last week was, dude. And people brought up, well, we didn't have Tre'Davious White, and I think that's the same. They're both all pros in my opinion. So. Not having him last week obviously showed. It was huge, dude. They ate us up. Gabriel Davis obviously had a fucking career day out there.
And I think I even brought it up too. I said, like, not to toot my own shit here, but I said the X factor of the Bills game is going to be how their linebackers play. And their linebackers played like ass, especially in the last drive when
scared.
Kelsey is wide open and you have Matt Milano, who's actually been a decent coverage linebacker this year. And then Tremont Edmonds, the guy who I kind of picked out, like, I was looking for him all game long. And they just didn't make the impact. Like I said, the X factor when I throw it out is this person needs to play well if they're going to win. And I think that is Tyrann Mathieu. If Tyrann Mathieu fucks up today, that's how you guys lose.
I think it's Tyrann Mathieu on defense and then Byron Pringle again on offense.
Pringle hands down. I
Pringle's
think Pringle
been
blows
huge.
up this game. He'd be my stardom, like my surprise stardom pick for a FanDuel.
What
I
was-
would think Pringle goes off today.
Yeah, no, Pringle's going to be huge today because just when everyone's going to have their eyes on Tyreek and then Travis too. I think Travis might go for 100-plus yards today. We get this game at home. We're playing for what should be our 4th Super Bowl appearance in a row, but playing for what could be our 3rd. And honestly, you ask just about any Bengals fan, did they realistically expect it to make it this far? Fuck no. But now that they're here,
That city was wild for a playoff win. I will say.
oh, that's what I'm saying though. Like we gotta come back to reality in a sense here. Who's been in this game for the last 4 years? Kansas City. When's the last time Cincinnati saw this? The 80s.
I think this is a good.
It's going to come down to experience today and coaching experience too.
I think every quarterback kind of has their "oh, you almost had it" moment. You know, Patty in his first year with the AFC Championship game, you almost had it. And
Josh Allen.
It's what builds a play. I think this last week was Josh Allen's. I think Josh, to where I called out Stephon Diggs last year saying he was going to come out hot. Obviously, he didn't for the game last week. Gabriel Davis did, but Josh Allen, I think that's his game. This could be Joe Burrow's game.
Patrick
If he
Mahomes
loses,
is this
if he loses, I think
generation's
Burrow
Tom
goes
Brady.
off. I don't think he's the reason they lose it all. But no, I think what you're talking about here is Burrow's is like, okay, you're almost there, but the key word there is almost.
Patrick Mahomes is this generation's Tom Brady, but Josh Allen will be this generation's Aaron Rodgers.
I think so too. Like he's going to be that guy where like you expect him to do it. Well, we almost saw the Bills championship window completely close this season. Miami almost took second in that division while New England took first. Like we almost truly witnessed that, and I think like the Buffalo's going to be hanging in there for a couple years, but like you said, he's going to be kind of like the Aaron Rodgers. Like they'll win their division probably. I think the Bills will be the favorite in that division for quite some time, depending on how Mac pans out. But I don't think they're going to be able to make those deep enough runs. That's just kind of history repeats itself too, dude. You got to think about it. Buffalo's historically just terrible when it comes to the big one.
Well, here's a question for you here. Surprise here. Eric Bieniemy not getting a head coaching gig, not getting these interviews. What is the actual shot here? If you guys win a Super Bowl, what's the shot that Andy Reid maybe retires and Bieniemy takes the reins there? Like, Reid's not exactly a spring chicken. I know he loves to coach. I know
I think we
his
got another
personal life's
5
kind of
years
been a
in the
little bit
guy,
of
to be
shit with
honest.
his kids, but like, you know, I think like what is the chance he might actually step away and Bieniemy stays home?
I think also Andy Reid's the only one to lead 2 different franchises to 4 conference championships in a row. So coaching is going to be a huge factor today. But I don't think Reid's going to necessarily retire within
Well, he's done it on 2 conferences too. Cause
Well, yeah,
he moves to
AFC and
3
NFC.
straight.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
4 straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Reid retires after this year, even if we do win the
I don't
big
think
one.
he does.
I think it'll be a couple more years until those rumors maybe kind of come about. And it's really tough, though, too, because this is Patty's 4th year. You know what I mean? Or 5th year. So to be the one that's guiding what potentially is one of the best to ever do it, I don't think he's going to have any sort of interest in retiring. You know what I mean? He has that potential.
I don't think so at all. I just, you know.
That's
throwing
just
out shit for
he
shit's
is older, obviously. So I mean, you're going to think about it. It does make me wonder how long Bieniemy is going to be around. If he's going to maybe be like a McDaniels, where he maybe leaves at some point but comes back. Obviously, I want him to stay due to the fact that our offense just is very successful with him, you know, running it. But it's a double-edged sword because I want to go see him run a team himself because he does deserve that. But it's tough when you lose that piece on your offensive side too, or your coaching staff. You know what I mean? That plays a big role. He deserves it, but if he stays, I'm not going to be completely upset about it. I'll put it that way. There's no one more deserving, in my opinion, though.
I don't know. I think the fact that he's gotten shafted from head coaching gigs.
It's
I got to think it's something like maybe he's just like too soft spoken. Like we've heard about this before. Like coaches like not some coaches who maybe aren't so personable in the interview and a little bit quiet at first get
Yeah.
overlooked for so long, and then all of a sudden, like when they do blow up, everybody's like, "Well, why was it?" And it's like the Rich Bisaccia. Like I don't know if he gets the Raiders gig, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's
No, he
talking about
got
how
hired
no
at-
one really looked at him like that. But then this year, I think he did a fair job. You know
Oh,
what I
he
mean?
did considering everything that happened and transpired just within, throughout the year for you guys was unreal for him to lead you guys to the playoffs. Like, I respected that. I respect the hell out of him for that. Your team, it was cool because your team just believed in him too, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think when Gruden left, that kind of changed the dynamic of the locker room. And the locker room's huge too. Like, I think Bruce Arians lost the locker room towards the second half of this season,
100%,
causing the Buccaneers
100%.
to cause that big fallout, dude. Them bringing Antonio Brown in was probably one of the worst things they had done, in my opinion, for that locker room specifically because they lost it. That was just trouble in paradise. But
So I just want to let you know I've been doing a little bit of math over here. In the last 12 games, so 12 games ago, including playoffs, your Kansas City Chiefs lost a football game to the Tennessee Titans 27-3. Rather embarrassing. I think you remember it.
Yep.
Since then, you guys are 11-1 in the next 12 games, including the playoffs. Your lone loss coming to this weekend's opponent by just a field goal. Fun fact, boys, the Chiefs are the hottest team in football because over that time, they have put up a point differential of 378 points to 215 points. So if we're going to do the math here, that is a 163-point differential in 12 games. You divide that by 12, the Chiefs in this streak are winning the average game by 13.6 points.
Wow.
Just a heads
yeah.
up. Just a heads up.
No, that's thank you for bringing that to
Just do a
light.
little bit of stats there. Just that is since the Titans game, they have lost one game by one field goal. That also includes a couple blowout games to some team out west.
Don't know their name.
Don't know their name off the top of my head here, but
Black and silver, baby.
yeah, I mean, even in counting the Raiders' blowout losses, dude, you guys are still winning games by over 10 points a game.
Yeah, no, that's
know?
true though. That is true. But
So-
I'm excited for today, man. Our team's hot. We're rolling. After last week's win too, like we won that game against Buffalo.
Also,
I think-
just want to add here, this is the list of teams that they played during there. You had the Giants, the Raiders twice, playoff team. Packers, playoff team. Cowboys, playoff team. Broncos, almost in the playoffs. Chargers, we're in contention up until Week 18. Steelers, playoff team. Steelers twice, actually, if we're going to count it. And then the Broncos again. So your only loss coming to the Bengals. So really the only non-playoff or playoff contending team was the Giants that you guys beat.
yeah, so we did our job.
And that's actually a hurtful one to your stat because you guys only scored 20 points and beat them by 3. So if we're
Yep.
if we take that one out, the numbers probably become a little bit scarier.
Nope, you're not wrong. And like you said earlier, though, too, our defense has been a big staple in our success this year. But because I think when our defense turned around, our offense turned around at the same time, and that's when shit just started to click. Because like we said, first half of the season, everyone thought they'd figured out Kansas City. Because Patty was trying to force it. I don't know if you guys have watched it.
Oh, hands down.
I remember watching the game. He was just trying to force the big one. It's like, dude, hit your checks down. We need to move the ball. So when he just kind of got a grip of some patience again, that's when things got dangerous. So that's why I'm excited for this game, man, because every team we lost to in the regular season, we ended up beating when we saw them again. So
All right. I
All
was
right, so-
waiting for you guys to get through it. You know, we got heated up over Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Tyler. We'll kick to you. We do this over Chiefs.
Here is my thought on the Bengals and Chiefs game today.
Take the floor, King.
First of all, I don't care who wins it because as long as the Niners beat the Rams, either Super Bowl's a rematch, and I love both of the games.
True.
Not only do I not care who wins, but I have no confidence at all in either a pick or a bet in this game. I don't know where to start, but what I think I'm looking for in this game is the Bengals defense being great this year, especially the secondary. If the what I thought was the deciding factor in their first game a few weeks ago was how in the second half the Chiefs kind of stayed on the run.
we only scored 3 points, I think, in the
Yeah,
second half. It was.
they went on that with the run game, and I mean, obviously, look at the past couple weeks. The Chiefs' passing game is still the Chiefs' passing game. So I'm looking for the Bengals' defense to try to keep the passing game quiet and force them back into that run so they can hold that win. So my X factor for the Bengals is going to be that secondary, which carries a lot of big names this year. Eli Apple, Chidobe Awuzie, Trey Flowers, Vernon Hargreaves.
Jesse Bates.
Yep. I'm watching that Bengals secondary, and if they show up today, I think the Bengals offense can handle their end of things. Joe Burrow was, what's the stat I brought up earlier? Joe Burrow is like the league leader in getting pressured and getting sacked. He's also the league leader in completion percentage and depth of target. His receiving core is there. All he has to do is get the ball to him. And then as soon as that's addressed, boom, there's Joe Mixon, who is still a talented running back, very talented running back against what is probably the Chiefs' weakness on defense is going to be using Joe Mixon to attack where they aren't. On the Chiefs side of things, I think my X factor there is the coaching staff, but mainly I'm looking at Steve Spagnuolo because I want to see his answer for
The shitty performance.
the shitty performance in the last game, but also, like I said, the Bengals receiving core being explosive and Joe Burrow performing incredibly well despite turnovers and getting sacked and pressured left and right. So that's what I'm looking for the Chiefs to change this time around is what's their defense going to be today. And if they don't make big addresses, I think we're going to see something similar to what happened a few weeks ago, and the Bengals are going to just stay slightly ahead and walk off with this one.
Well, and I think
I'm excited for this game. You can go ahead, Cole.
Yeah, I think on the offensive end, one other player I do want to highlight, and someone who probably is not getting his love, is a former Niner,
Darrell
former
Williams?
Minnesota Viking, who you guys picked up, and that's Jerick McKinnon.
McKinnon was a huge
I think
part of our
McKinnon's been
game
a
last
huge
week.
pick.
Yeah, he was.
Because I think he's a distraction more than anything. I think you have to respect him both as a runner and a receiver.
Your receiver too, exactly. He's speedy. He's a speedy back.
And that's the thing is I think Clyde's gotten – he hasn't been as good. Let's just call it what it is. He hasn't been as good as we thought he would, and I think Jerick demands the attention that we thought Clyde would get.
Even Darrell Williams, he rushed for over 1,000 this year for us.
Yeah.
Our running back committee is a little different, but it's still there. We just
Well,
haven't had to
committee
figure out
teams
how to
win
use
titles.
Clyde. That's the shitty part.
The fucking Niners are using Debo, so I mean, however you have to make it work. Bro.
No, exactly though,
Yeah.
and there's times too where obviously we haven't seen Tyreek do that in a minute.
And I'm
though,
honestly
too.
wondering if the Niners situation with Debo now is almost a page out of the Chiefs' book.
Because Tyreek was doing
Because
that. He's-
Tyreek was doing it. We lost
Yep.
a Super Bowl to him.
Yep. Nope. Exactly.
It's effective. It's obviously working.
So I'm very excited for this game because whatever happened throughout the regular season to me is actually rather irrelevant. Because pull up Patrick Mahomes' stats in the playoffs, and like I said, there's only one quarterback that's beat him, and that's the greatest of all time. Outside of that, he's 8-2. So
Yeah.
You're holding that one stat pretty close to your chest right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, X factors for Rams, Niners. Lane, we'll kick it back to you. Who are your offensive and defensive X factors for the Niners?
For the Niners, is Elijah Mitchell starting?
Yep.
I think it's going to come down to Elijah Mitchell. Obviously, Debo's the big one, and so is Kittle. But you got to go back to the running game. That's been something you guys have established yourself in. It's been a good staple for your offense for quite some time now, and that's obviously how you beat the Packers a couple years to go to the big one. So I think it's going to come down to the rushing game for them, actually, because you got Jalen Ramsey is just – I mean, he's Ramsey. In my opinion, he's the best corner in the league. He's very effective. But depending on how you guys game plan for Debo and what packages you use, so on and so forth, I'm very interested to see. But I think it's going to come down to running game. Defense, someone's got to stop Cooper Kupp. So I think it's going to have to – the secondary is going to have to step up big. Not worried about your front seven, worried about your secondary. So I think it comes down to running game and secondary for the 49ers today.
There we go. All right, Mr. Tyler.
Okay. Offensive. I'll start. I'll do the Niners first. Offensive X factor for me for the Niners. What's going to decide the game for them is Kyle Shanahan's playbook. He needs to do what he's always done and done well, which is spread out the defense. He needs to get the Rams defense all over the place. Needs to spread them out, and he needs to find that one opening. You know, it's George Kittle crossing the middle. It's Deebo Samuel running out wide. Or all of a sudden it's Ayuk 30 yards downfield blowing past Ramsey like he did 3 weeks ago. So he just needs to stick to his guns and keep the Rams defense breathing heavy, run them out, run them low, and avoid the mistakes. I know it's hard, obviously, but if we can avoid Jimmy Garoppolo throwing that one interception when we're in the red zone or whatever, like it will change the game. On the Rams side of things, their X factor will be.
Hold on here. I'm gonna stop you
Go ahead.
for a little bit of edging, foreplay, all that jazz. Just because I'm going to jump in with the Niners real fast here on my X factors, and my offensive X factor is going to be someone that everybody forgets about, but channeling a coach that I no longer support. I'm going to have to go old school, and I think it's going to be the fullback. Give me the juice. I think Kyle Juszczyk is not going to make the X factor on the stat sheet, but I think when you watch the game of football and you're talking the X's and O's, I think he does a lot more for this offense than anybody realizes. He's a third down back. He's your traditional fullback. He's a backup tight end.
He's a solid veteran, too,
And
in that
I think-
locker room. Solid veteran and leader in that locker
Yeah,
room,
he is.
too.
100%. And he hasn't had much of an impact, only 2 carries, a couple catches this postseason, but I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of blitzing from Steve Spagnuolo because, well, it's Steve Spagnuolo. That's what he fucking does. And I think having a fullback and having Juszczyk in there instead of other backs on third down, instead of an Elijah Mitchell, when you have Juszczyk in there on third downs and he's able to pick up that blitzer, I think that's going to give Garoppolo more time to work. And so that's my offensive X factor. Honestly, looking over this team, to talk about Kittle, to talk about Debo, I think that's cliche. Garoppolo, obviously, we know he has to be better, I think, to win this game. But if we're talking one player, I think that no one is going to talk about that this game could hinge on, it's going to be the fullback because the Niners use Juszczyk better than any other team does with their fullback.
You actually just reminded me that I completely skipped over the other side of the ball for the 49ers. I talked about their offense, but I missed their defense.
So who's your defensive X factor? Because I'll bring mine up after this.
Okay, my defensive X factor for the 49ers is going to be, I don't know if I can narrow it down to one player, but
Nick Bosa.
probably it's going to be Eric Armstead. My defensive X factor here is Eric Armstead. The stat sheet this year for the Rams is Stafford thrives against the blitz. The 49ers lead the league in pressure against the quarterback away from the blitz. We keep our linebackers back, we keep our safeties back, and we run there with 4 dudes, and we put an insane amount of pressure on him. Stafford's better against the blitz, but we don't run the blitz as often. I think it's like 30% we run a blitz. So I'm looking, obviously Nick Bosa is a massive presence on that defensive front. And he's going to charge against double or triple teams like he always does. And then as soon as that happens, there's Eric Armstead. There's Arden Key. Last week, Fred Warner got a sack. And as long as last week it's brought up with this, the Niners got, I think, 5.5 sacks. And all of them but one came on non-blitz plays. So that's what I'm looking at is Eric Armstead showing up while everyone else is pressuring and we're covering that secondary. As long as we stay away from the blitz, as long as we can watch Cooper out of the slot and maybe pressure Stafford enough to keep him from getting time to get that deep ball to Van Jefferson or OBJ, we should hold it.
Well, I think Armstead's a great X factor pick because looking into the stats here, Eric Armstead had 6 sacks in the regular season. All right? Mm-hmm. He has 3 in the playoffs so far. So he's coming on hot when he needs to be. But 2.5 of the 6 sacks he had in the regular season were versus the Rams. So he had some success against the Rams earlier in the season. I think what their line's done, even within the wake of someone like Javon Kinlaw, who I thought was going to be a force, tearing his ACL early in the season. Mm-hmm. I also love me some Mo Hurst being a former Raider. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be great for the Niners in the next couple of years if they keep him around. But my X factor is going to be another Raider that you already brought up, another former Raider, and it's going to be Arden Key because he's kind of shit the bed a little bit this postseason. He's had a little bit of a revitalizing year with the Niners. He's talked a lot of shit about the Raiders on Twitter. Deservedly so. We didn't really capitalize on his talents, but with 6.5 sacks in the regular season, he needs to come alive. And he did have a 1.5 sacks against the Niners this year, or against the Rams. And I think he has to be the guy who draws attention away from Bosa and Eric Armstead. Like, mm-hmm. That's just what it has to be this week. Like, Arden Key has to show up. He's got to be the player that the Raiders thought that they were drafting. He's been the player that couple of times for the Niners this year, but honestly, I think Arden Key is going to be my defensive X factor because, like you said, man, I think they rush 4, they hold back, they let Fred Warner play that middle linebacker position that he does almost better than anybody else in the NFL as far as balancing coverage, run protection. But, bro, I mean, Dre Greenlaw I think is going to ball out today, but when I'm talking one player who needs to step the fuck up, and this game will hinge on him, it's going to be Arden Key for me. Honestly, I think Arden Key has to come out and he has to pressure Patty if they're going to have any shot of, or not Patty, Stafford, if they're going to have any shot of winning today. Because I think the Rams might be due for one, even though I'm wearing this Niners jersey. But still, Arden Key has to go on that. On a tear. But I will kick it now back to you, Tyler, since I interrupted you. Who are your Rams X factors?
Ooh, Rams X factor. Okay, on the Rams offensive side of the ball, their X factor, it was their key player and their biggest switch of utilization from their big loss to us in the early or midseason, I guess, was Tyler Higbee. The 49ers have to be able to shut down the crossing routes between Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is the focal point. If he gets the ball, we're done. But as soon as we guard him, Tyler Higbee shows up. And if Stafford can keep finding ways to get the ball in his hands, they'll get down the field. They'll get points on the board. And I think that's going to be their option against us, their best option against us. He's a good tight end. The Rams' defensive side of things is going to be probably, I think their X factor on defense is Von Miller. Obviously, Aaron Donald gets a lot of attention, but Von Miller's going to be the guy.
Well, Von's been on a tear this postseason too. I mean,
fuck yeah,
like you saw that strip sack last week. That was peak Miller. That was 2015 Von Miller.
It's going to be Von Miller looking to get through and put pressure on Jimmy, and also keeping his eye on Kittle and Juice, like you said. He's going to be his spiral this week is going to be what will decide how the Niners get down the field, I think.
Well, and I think Von Miller's a great one too because in the postseason, 2 games right now, only 10 tackles, but 2 sacks and 3 forced fumbles.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the big one right there. Is 3 forced fumbles, and I'll find another defensive X factor because Von, I was gonna cheat and use him because, dude, it's Von Miller. Like, dude, if he plays great, you guys are gonna have a serious fucking issue today.
Yeah.
But Lane, I guess, who would you probably pick for the Rams? Who are your star players that you have to ball out today for your Rams to win?
Chill. Leonard Floyd.
The forgotten man out there.
That's what I'm saying. He's the one that's kind of not talked about enough, I think, on that line there.
Anymore, I would say, ever since Vaughn started balling out, I think Leonard Floyd's gotten the backdrop. He had 9.5 sacks this year. So
yeah, no, exactly. Taking the back seat. Still effective, though, when he gets his turn. He's able to cause disruption. So I think that's a big one. Obviously, like I said earlier, Ramsey's going to have to be the one that figures out how they can kind of limit Debo being effective, along with Ayuk. On offense, I would say their offensive line. I mean, they're gonna have to be able to protect Matt. Like you were saying, you guys have the number 1 rush, QB pressure defense. So, yeah, I'd say that offensive line's gonna have to keep a clean pocket. I know when he gets blitzed, he's one of the best, but you just want to keep it clean as is. So I would say Leonard Floyd and the Rams' offensive line are going to be the key factors today, in my opinion.
I see that there. So on the offensive side for the Rams, I think there's one guy here that is going to make the biggest difference, and you guys haven't played against him yet this year, Tyler, and that's Cam Akers. Not at full power anyways, because he came back for that Week 18 game.
Yeah.
But I think Cam he's shaken the rust off, and I think he is now going to be the fullback for the Rams today. And by I mean full-time usage back, not fullback.
Yeah.
But, yeah, honestly, though, since he's come back, like if you're looking at the playoff stats, 41 rushing attempts to Cam Akers, only 14 to Michelle, and then 1 to Jake Funk, or 2 to Jake Funk. So they are giving him every single target. Stafford, I mean, as far as like completing, he's targeting Cam Akers out of the backfield. I think we're seeing that kind of get reworked in, and they're shaking the rust off of that, drop out, the check down route connection. But Cam Akers has to be my X factor again this week. I think OBJ is going to score a touchdown. I think Cooper Kupp is going to be Cooper Kupp. But at the end of the day, they win this game Tyler Higbee or Cam Akers. So I'm going to pick Cam for mine.
I like that pick.
But on the defensive side, Jalen Ramsey gets talked about, but I think it's going to be the guy who's actually leading the Rams in tackles. I'm going to pick Darius Williams. Because I think Jalen's good. I think they're going to stick him on Debo, but how does their second and third cornerback? Like, how does David Long, how does Darius Williams, how do these guys in the secondary, how do they play? Outside of Jalen. Because Jalen, last week against Mike had some issues. He might have some issues against Cooper, but I think you're going to see Stafford go to the well and start hitting some of those second and third options this week. And that's going to be my guy or not Stafford, Jimmy. I think he's going to, go there. He's going to, start throwing to Kittle, start throwing to Jusic a little bit. Maybe Ayuk gets involved. But I think at the end of the day, you have to see Darius Williams come up and step up as that number 2 guy and try to get a pick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially from Jimmy, the guy who's thrown the most picks in the playoffs so far. So
and the obviously one huge name in this game that none of us brought up, at least as an X factor, is going to be George Kittle. And I don't know what it means necessarily, but it was.
I'm wearing his jersey.
Yeah. It was.
What do you mean you didn't bring him up? I've been wrapping him the whole show.
It was. Oh no, I mean as far as X factors.
No,
but
I get you.
I don't know what it means exactly, but it was explicitly kind of highlighted for George Kittle to come out this week in interviews and announcements. Like, are you going to sweep the Rams, or how do you feel playing a team that you've already played and beat twice? George Kittle's one sentence that came from him this week was that he is healthier this time than he was last time. And like I said, I don't know what that means, but I think it's worth highlighting for some reason. It's just an itch. George Kittle hasn't been George Kittle this year and this playoff run versus last playoff run when like that big play against the Saints when he went 35 yards, took a face mask and 4 guys to tackle him. He hasn't been that guy yet this year. I think that could happen here. I think George Kittle could end up easily being the guy, for all we know.
Very well could be. I forgot to mention one thing for the Chiefs game. Also, shout out Mama Bear, go Chiefs. Alex Smith, I believe, is banging the drum today in Kansas City. So, I love us by a million.
Just remember, though, you got to go up against this man who's coming up on screen here.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. It's Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin all flossed up. Yeah.
Joe Shiesty.
Oh, Jay-Z Rel also on Twitch. What is up, my dude? He says, big games today, game of inches.
Just remember, it's always a game of inches. There's one quarterback in this game who has a Super Bowl MVP. It's the weirdest thing. I think something else that's looked over. So I'm very excited for this 1 o'clock game, and I think I am fixins to head out to go get the house prepared.
All right, boys, let's call it. Let's call the final ones here. Let's get the stat lines up. We'll talk about some picks here.
Financial advice.
Let me just do my job here. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Go and pause.
Working on internet team. All right, so ESPN right now is predicting the Bengals and Chiefs. 30% prediction factor for the Bengals, 70% for the Chiefs. So obviously very favored. The Chiefs are at home with a 7-point favorite, and the over-under is 54.5. Lane, our resident gambling expert. Who you got, homie?
I shouldn't, but I'm going to go with a homer pick. I think I'm going to take us with the spread. And then I'm going to go with I want to say the under, actually. I want to say defense. Like, defense actually shows up on both sides of the ball at some point in this game. So, yeah, us on the spread and the under.
Mr. Tyler Young, the guest of the show.
I really don't see much influence, in my opinion, that this game is going to be much different from the last game. I like the Bengals to cover that.
It's good. It's a good spread. It's a big spread.
Yeah, I like the Bengals to cover that one, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game's got shootout written all over it. I'll go over on the 54.
It very well could. It very well could.
Just
like I said when I was talking about this game earlier, I have zero confidence in anything in this game. For all I know, it's a coin toss. But
Vegas is working. They're fucking with everyone's head on this one.
But if I have to pick, that's my pick. If the Bengals win, and I'd like to see it, for all I know, it's probably by another field goal. Evan McPherson, shout out Siglin, do the gritty.
Who you got, Cole?
So this year, it's tough, man, because the Chiefs, I mean, if we're counting playoff records, they're 14-5 right now. You know what I mean? So, but they are 10-9 against the spread. So I'm gonna, if I'm a betting man, which I am,
they are terrible.
Clearly,
against the spread.
I'm gonna pick the Bengals on the spread. I do think the Chiefs win this game. If we're going to be honest here, just honest analysis, I would love to see Joe Burrow win. I like Joe Burrow. Obviously, being a Raiders fan, I'm going to go against the Chiefs any single time, but I still respect Patty, still respect everything going on. Also, let's stop hating on the man's woman, all right? If the girl wants to floss for her dude,
hey, dude.
yeah, I'm sorry she sprayed champagne on people,
Yeah,
all right? You know what? Be happy that they fucking won and they can spray champagne, all right?
Yeah.
Jackson Mahomes deserves all the hate.
Yeah,
Brittany,
give it all. Yeah, fuck Jackson.
Brittany Matthews, well, as a Raiders fan, she will annoy me.
Yeah.
Yes, but at the end of the day, like,
She's
when you
not
got
Jackson.
a fucking ride or die, bro, like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the energy, I gotta respect it. I gotta
Thank
respect it. So I do think the Chiefs win. I think they win by 3 here. I think I'm gonna call a Harrison Butker field goal
Booty kicker.
in overtime.
Ooh, another OT.
In
I love
overtime.
it.
I don't wanna see
I'm
that
gonna
game.
get
I
I'm gonna get cute
don't
here.
know
I'm
if
gonna
my
get
heart
cute
can
here.
handle
Yeah,
it. Okay?
over here. Just kidding. No, it's going to be Harrison Butker field goal as time expires because if it's overtime, it's Patty and a touchdown. We both know that. But it's going to be a close one, man. It's going to be a fucking super close game, and I think the over is going to hit. 54.5. Bro, it's a 30-25 ball game. I think this game goes over that. Honestly, it's the AFC Championship game. All the cards are on the table. You have Andy Reid, Zach Taylor, Eric Bieniemy. Just even on the coaching side, I think you
That's
have
what I'm
a
saying.
lot of
People are
offensive
over like
talent.
our coaching stuff. I'm glad.
Like, I get it. Both defenses have been good, but I would not call either of them elite, and the Chiefs put up numbers on an elite defense last week. So the
Thank
Bengals put
you.
up numbers on an elite defense. So, like, here's the deal. Like, they're good defenses. Whichever defense plays better probably determines who wins this game. But fucking A. Like, these are two shootout teams. And I just don't think you see the Bengals get off to a slow start like last time. I think this game shoots out 42-38 ball game.
Let's
something
go.
Like
What
that.
do
If
we
it
got
doesn't
for
end on a field goal, 42-38 with 38-35, Patty goes down, scores a touchdown, Joe gets his heart broken, all right?
41-35,
Yeah.
Cincy.
All right. Now moving on. Now we can talk some smack on the other team. Tyler, I'll give you the first ups here because breaking down the Rams-Niners, we have a 40% factor for the Niners, 60% factor for the Rams as far as who America's going for. You have the Rams by 3.5 points.
Siglin, hold
Enough
on.
to make it
Siglin,
cute.
you realize the score of the last game was 31-34, right? Like, do you even know what the fuck you're talking about? Oh my god. Anyways, back to your question. Wow, sorry, my phone died,
Comment
so I'm
section
sorry.
always be wild. But
there's no way. Yeah.
fun fact this year, guys, the Niners are 12-7, the Rams are 14-5. We have two teams here. The Rams are 10-9 against the spread. The Niners are 11-8 against the spread. So, two like 500 teams with that 3.5 points. Over under 45.5 though. So
45.5, you said?
45.5.
Okay. Let's see. Rams are 3.5 point favorites here. Jimmy Garoppolo is great when favored or in starting as a quarterback and playing as the underdog. And especially in the playoffs, as we've seen the past few weeks, when you find a reason to count him out, he shows up and we win the game.
Well, and the Rams are also just note this too: 4-1 against the spread as underdogs, and 8-2 in their last 10 games.
Okay.
So there's more kind of breakdown for you as far as recent stats, because obviously cold start. Both your teams know something about that.
Yes,
I'm
we
gonna stay very confident in my pick earlier. Niners are gonna cover that and more. Niners by 10 at least.
95 million.
Not
Yeah.
bad, man.
Yeah,
95 million.
3.5 points is the Niners being plus 3.5 here is almost embarrassing to whoever wrote that stat.
I love it. I love it.
And 45.5.
Well, just heads up, 3.5 is also what they gave you guys your last
Awesome.
meeting too, that you won by 3. So same spread.
Good point. 45.5. God, I don't know. Because I think
27-24 last time when you guys played. If you want that number too.
yeah.
So went over 45. It went to 51 points.
I'll take the over on the 45.5, but not by much. Not by much. these are two big boy defenses, but they're two offenses that know how to get down that field. So points will get put up, but they'll be spread out. I would say maybe Niners 28. No, that's under the 45 and a half. Okay, maybe I'm going to go under. I'm going to say Niners 28, Rams 14.
Damn. I was actually going to say...
He's drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, he's drinking the Kool-Aid.
Oh, wait, no. I missed something. Niners 31 because we're going to get that Robbie Gould kick.
Oh,
Taryn Maltz is shouting in here. He says he takes the over for both games.
He has the Bengals plus 7.5.
Yeah, I like the over in both.
On the tease.
Easily.
Landon, I'm surprised you haven't done a teaser. Sigmund kind of called you in the comments, too.
Well,
I'm surprised you haven't teased.
I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it. But I will be running a teaser today still. Obviously, I think...
Watch the story.
Bengals, yeah, right? Bengals spread on teasers, easy lock in my opinion. I think they'll cover 10+, but... This game's going to be tough. I think 24-21 Rams... So I think Niners, I guess, cover the 3.5. I think defense is
going to play a big factor in this game. I think you guys are going to be able to figure out how to slow Cup down, and then I think they're going to have to try and figure out a game plan to work around Cup and not focus on him. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting game. It should be a shootout for both of them. I like the Rams to win, though. Yeah, 24-21. I guess I'm taking the under and the 49ers spread. Let's fucking go! Let's go! I'm fucking saying.
That's for you, boo-boo.
Oh,
I
love it. I love it. I'm
Alrighty.
so pumped.
On this game, honestly, here, yeah, I think Niners over. I would take the Niners.
It's tough.
Here's the
dude.
deal. I really want the Rams to win. I'm not gonna lie. I'm rocking the Kittle jersey here to support our boy, support the Niners. I got Niners friends. But fuck, dude. This game comes close. I think the Niners get the spread, but that's because I think, honestly, the Rams win by less than a field goal. And I'm talking like the final play makes it a 1 or 2 point game. And T Maltz brought up something, too. I think we get some defensive touchdowns in this game that throw a couple of wrenches in there. Because the Niners could probably, honestly, not even play as good a football offensively as the Rams and still keep this game close. Or vice versa. The Rams could struggle on offense and their defense could bail them out. They have two talented defenses, I think, that have proved they can score. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to predict this, 36-35 Rams.
Ooh.
That close.
Damn.
That close.
So you got Niners spread, huh?
Yeah, I got the Niners with the spread. 36-35. I think this game hammers the over, though. Hammer it.
I like the call. Nate calls Chiefs-Rams Super Bowl.
Rams, Chiefs. All right, we heard it from Nate Atherton himself. Replay of one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah, seriously,
God,
though.
greatest regular season game I've ever seen.
Wow, with all these predictions in the comment section from the friends and from
Supposed friends.
it's going to be a really, really, really interesting show in a couple weeks when all three of us are back on here talking about these two teams playing for the gold.
Talking about 49ers. 49ers Chiefs repeat would be a fun one to watch again. It's only been 2 years. So.
I'm 24 years old, man, and I do not have time to pull gray hairs out.
I do not have time to pull gray hairs out. I feel you. I was going through it last week, dude. That Bills game had me fucking sweating. But
speaking of, we're gonna have a banger Super Bowl show. We gotta have like everybody on.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we'll have to do something.
I'll be back. I promise you, I'll be back. Whether I'm talking about flipping all these comment section predictors off or swallowing my pride, because I am capable of doing that. You know.
One or the other.
But I'll be back to talk about it for sure.
Book it.
I'm excited. Well, I'm excited to get home. I'm sorry.
Let's do this. No, let's do this.
To you guys, let's fucking go.